All right. Right, Coco, all with a peg leg. All right, welcome to Monday Motivation, guys. For those that don't know me, I'm Ashley. I'm gonna say Ashley Hawaiian because that's what everybody calls me. My government name, I guess, if you will, is Ashley Hollowell. But we just go by Ashley Hawaiian around here. We are gonna do a little exercise this morning for Monday Motivation, and then we're gonna talk about it. So first, I want you guys to think of, let's say, the color brown. Okay. I want you to think about the color brown. And what I want you to do is I want you, whatever space you're in, whether you're at work, whether you're at home, whether you're driving, if you're driving, please be careful. But whatever space you're in, I want you to look around your room, your space, and I want you to count the number of things that you see that are brown. Okay. Go ahead and do that. Look around. Count the number of things that you see that are brown. Okay. I'm going to give everybody a minute. Okay. All right. Now, I want you guys looking forward because some of you have your cameras on. So I want you to keep looking forward at the computer, okay? Now I want you to tell me in the chat box and listen carefully to the instructions. I want you to tell me in the chat box, how many things did you see that were red? Don't look around again. Don't be cheating. Don't be cheating. Okay? I see a lot of zeros. Okay. Now, I want you to think about the color red. Okay? A lot of you said 0 on here. Think about the color red. Look around your room, and now I want you to count the number of things that are red in your room. Give everybody a minute. My first question is, for those of you that put 0, did you see more things that were red when you were looking for the red? Okay. Now, my second question is, and do not cheat, do not look around again. How many things did you see that were yellow? Okay. Some people saw it. Okay. The point of this exercise, guys, is when you were looking for something brown, you saw a lot of things that are brown, right? You were counting them, right? If I asked you to put the number of things that you saw that were brown when you were looking for brown, there's probably going to be people who put 5, 6, 10, whatever. I don't know how brown your house is, right? But when you're looking for the brown, you found it very easily, right? But when I asked you, but how many things did you see that were red when you were looking for the brown? A lot of you said, I didn't see any, right? I saw 0 things that were red when I was looking for the brown. But then the next time when I said, okay, now go look for the things that are red, those of you that said 0, you didn't find anything. You found some red stuff, right? Like you guys were putting in the chat. Oh yeah, there is actually red in my room, right? I did actually see some red. I just didn't realize that I saw the red, right? But then whenever I asked you, well, how many things did you see that were yellow? Right? Some of you were putting 0. You didn't see anything yellow. And if I ask you right now to go look and count how many things are yellow, you probably have something in there that's yellow, right? You could probably find something. Guys, the point of this exercise is that your brain is always going to look for things that verify the story that you're telling yourself. Okay? You will always look for evidence to verify whatever story you have going on in your head. And that's evidenced by you're telling yourself that the story is, I'm looking for brown. So when you started looking around the room, you found everything that was brown, right? You could see it very clearly. I'm going to guess that even when you were looking for things that were brown, you were a little loosey-goosey on that, and you probably counted some things as brown that maybe were more tan or maybe, not quite brown, but hey, we're going to pass it off as brown, right? You will always look for the answers that verify what is going on up here. The story that you're telling yourself, you're always going to look and find the evidence that supports that. The reason that this is important, guys, is because so many times we are telling ourselves a story about our business, about ourselves, about life in general, whatever it may be. We're telling ourselves a story and we are finding the evidence to support that story. But that story that we're telling ourselves is oftentimes a negative one. It's oftentimes, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know enough. I suck at this. I'm a terrible mentor. Whatever it may be, whatever that story is, right? And then when we tell ourselves that story and we have that story on replay in our minds, then we find the evidence that supports it. But if we were telling ourselves a different story, if we change the narrative, if we change the story that we're telling ourselves to a positive one, what do you think our brains are going to do then? They're going to still find the evidence to support that story. So instead of telling ourselves, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, we tell ourselves, I'm an amazing mentor. I'm the best travel booker, travel agent, whatever you want to say, right? I attract abundance and wealth and success, right? I am the number one income earner. Whatever the story is that you want to tell yourself that's a positive story, right? Whatever that story is, now your brain is going to start looking for evidence to support that story. And what do you think that's going to do for your business? And just in life in general, I'm not just talking about business only. In life in general, whatever goals you have for yourself, right? What do you think that does for your life, for your business, when you start finding the evidence to support that story that you are a good mentor, that you are the best travel agent, that you are the number one income earner, right? You start to move in a way that pushes you further towards that goal, right? Christina and I have been going through a life and life and performance life coaching program. Okay. We just finished it. We've been going through it for 3 months. We actually have our graduation this weekend. And we've been going through that. And one thing that they talk about in there that I absolutely love is we have our head voice and we have our heart voice. And so many times we live in our head voice, but our head voice is rooted in doubt and fear and scarcity. Okay. Think of your head voice as like, let me give an example. Back in caveman times, right? They had to constantly be aware of their surroundings because at any time a saber-toothed tiger can jump out and kill them, right? Like you have to constantly be aware of your surroundings. Your brain is very primitive in that it is constantly looking for ways to protect you. But now that we live in the times that we do, we don't have that everyday threat of a saber-toothed tiger coming after us, right? But our brain does not understand that. Our brain is still very primitive, and our brain is very much in charge of keeping us safe. Okay. So The head voice is rooted in that fear of, if I try this, it's not safe, or I might fail, right? It's got a lot of fear and a lot of doubt. Our heart voice, that is rooted in success and abundance and growth. I like to say our heart voice is our dreamer, right? Our heart voice is our, I'm going to do this in life. I want a private jet. I want a Lambo. I want to make $1 million, right? It dreams. It has all these big goals that it sets, right? I like to think of it as our dreamer. Our head voice is our cynic, the one that says you'll never achieve that. You look at where you came from, right? You don't deserve that. You'll never get out of this struggle, whatever, right? Whatever it is that the head voice is telling us. Guys, if we can start identifying when we're in our head voice and we're telling ourselves these stories about, I'm not good enough, I have to be perfect, right? I'll never be on the top income earners list, right? I'm not a good travel agent. I don't know enough, whatever it is. Those are all the head voice. Those are all those stories that we're telling ourselves, and they come from our subconscious. You may not even realize that you're doing it, right? You may not even realize and be able to identify it in the moment, but what I want you to do is work on identifying that head voice after today, right? Because now you're aware of it. And when we bring things into our awareness, into our conscious brain, now that is also, we're going to see more of that, right? We're telling ourselves this story. We're going to find the evidence to support it. So if I'm educating you about your head voice, now you've brought that into your conscious mind, right? We're aware that it's there. So now we're going to start looking for the evidence to support that. We're going to start being able to identify when we tell ourselves these head voice stories about, I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. I will never be successful. I don't deserve to be a platinum. I don't deserve to be an IATN card holder, right? Those are all your primitive brain, your subconscious throwing up these blockers to protect you. Okay, but all it's really doing is holding you back. All it's doing is keeping you inside your comfort zone circle, right? Keeping you stuck inside there so that you don't try and fail. Okay, our heart voice, like I said, that's our dreamer. It's rooted in success and growth and abundance, right? Our heart voice wants us to be millionaires, living in a mansion, driving a Lambo with a private jet, taking vacations, living all over the world, whatever it is that you dream about, right? Whatever it is that you dream about, that's your heart voice. When you set your goals, that's your heart voice. Okay. What we learn to do, partly in this coaching program, is we learned how to help people identify their head voice and what that leads to, right? What kind of feelings that gives them, what kind of actions they take because of that, and then what that manifests for their life or for their business. We've learned how to walk them through that process, but then we learn how to flip it and help them find their heart voice, how to tell themselves a new story. I am a 6-figure earner. I am a 2-star platinum. I am an IATN card holder, right? And when they say that statement, that new story, the heart voice story, when they say that statement, what kind of feelings does that give them? Right? And I've coached a few people. I had to do 6 sessions for my certification. Shelly said joy, right? I love that word. I had people that told me when they said their new statement, right? It gave them some of them said it gave them an overwhelming feeling of calm. Like it gave them grace to not be beating themselves up, right? It gave them, some of them were highly motivated. Some of them were joy. Someone did use the word joy in one of my sessions, right? They found that just saying that statement, that new heart voice statement, just saying that statement gave them this like motivation to be like, I can do this, right? Like, heck yeah, right? I want to go take on the world, right? They were ready. And then from that feeling, they had new actions. Well, I'm going to go live today on social media, or I'm going to go do my mock bookings. I'm going to go find a new job board. I'm going to go post on social media about the job opportunity, whatever it was, right? They had that new action, and that new action is going to manifest massive things for their business, right? Massive success for their business. So that's what I want you guys to be able to identify, is that head voice that's rooted in scarcity and fear, that's trying to hold you in a box, right? It's trying to, this is my box, my comfort zone box, right? And it's trying to hold me in that box. But what we know is that your comfort zone is where you go to die, right? We know that. You don't grow in the comfort zone. You don't learn in the comfort zone, right? You don't succeed in the comfort zone. That's where you go to die. It's when you step outside that comfort zone, right? If you guys follow me on social media, you've seen lately, when I went to Thailand and when we went to Hawaii, right? Thailand and Singapore, and then when we went to Hawaii. In Thailand, we went to something called the Tiger Kingdom, right? And you could pay to go into this cage, if you will. I mean, it was big, but go into this like cage with live tigers. Now, the really big ones, they drugged them. I didn't really like that. I didn't know that he was going to be all looped up when I went in there. So that part I didn't really like. But the smaller one, that wasn't so small. But the smaller one, he was fully awake, right? Like he was fully awake. But when I posted those pictures, I had so many people that were like, oh my gosh, I don't know how you did that. I would never be able to walk into that cage with a freaking live tiger, right? And they're not on a chain. They were not chained up. They were free walking, right? There was multiple tigers in a cage. Some of them were sleeping, some were like, there would be, one tiger over here and there would be two people taking pictures, and then there would be another tiger over here and two people taking pictures, right? So you have multiple tigers in this cage, okay? Both of them are awake. Both of them are unchained, right? There are workers in there that, in the event something popped off, they're there, but let's be honest, it's a freaking tiger, right? So how much are they going to do is my thought. But I had so many people that were like, "Oh my gosh, I could never do that. I don't know how you did that. I could never walk into there with a live tiger." And I had that same fear, right? Whenever, like, it sounded great when we were planning it. I was like, oh, this is freaking cool, right? But then when we get there and we walk in and like there's two freaking tigers right there within arm's reach, your heart kind of starts to beat a little bit, right? And you're like, oh, what did I get myself into? But what I kept telling myself was, this is super outside my comfort zone. I'm very nervous. I'm a little bit scared, right? But in that moment, I had a choice. I could give in and say, bro, I can't do this. I got to go. And I could walk out, right? Or I could push through that uncomfortableness. I could push through my fear right? I could bust through the comfort zone box and I could step into that and just do it, right? Just overcome that. And I chose that. I chose to step outside my comfort zone. I chose to continue to go into that cage. And guys, it was amazing. Like we got to go sit by the tiger. We got to pet the tiger. If you look on Val's Facebook, her profile picture, she's literally laying on the butt of the tiger, like he's a pillow, right? And it was a big one. She's literally like laying on his, like I would call it his hip, right? She's literally laying on like his hip on the back and just like hugging him, right? One of the coolest experiences. Not everybody can say they got to go in and take a picture with a freaking tiger, right? And live to tell about it and came out unscathed, right? Even when we were taking pictures, so like me and another girl went in together. I had to take her picture. She had to take my pictures, right? Even in doing that, at one point with the smaller tiger, I went to walk to the front of the tiger and get a picture of like his face with her behind him, right? And as I walked over, the freaking guy that was working there, idiot, squirted the tiger with water on his paw. And y'all, if that tiger didn't look into my soul thinking that I squirted him with water because I was right in front of him, right? The guy was kind of off to the side when he squirted him. That tiger looked up and he locked eyes with me, and I was like, oh frick, I'm dying. Like this is where I die, right? But in that moment, I was like, okay, it wasn't me, buddy. Not me. It was him. If you're gonna get somebody, get him, right? Like I'm talking to the tiger. I'm like, it wasn't me. It's okay. It's okay. I just taken your picture, right? And when we went to leave, after I got my pictures done, the tiger started to stand up like he was about to follow me out, right? Like he wanted to be best friends now. He wanted to come home with me, which come on. But the guy that was working there had to turn around and be like, no, 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 sit down, right? He had to like get him to stay. But even in those little moments, right? I could have ran away. I could have been too scared to continue, right? But I kept telling myself, it's okay. I'm okay, right? The situation is under control and this is going to be epic, right? Like this is going to be so amazing. And it was. Same thing within Hawaii when we went swimming with sharks. Y'all, I've wanted to swim with sharks since I was a little bitty kid. I'm obsessed with them, right? Like I am obsessed with sharks. That's my favorite animal. I've wanted to swim in a cage with sharks since I was a little bitty kid. And I told Christina a while ago, I was like, that's my like most awesome number one thing that I want to do, but I don't know if I could actually go through with it. I was like, I think I would be too scared to get in the water, right? When we were going to Hawaii, the day before we left, she messaged me a picture and she's like, I found what we can do in Hawaii. And it was swimming with sharks. And I was like, shut up, right? Then when we get there, Charles is talking about he's going to go swim with sharks. And I was like, this is my chance, right? Like, I have the opportunity. This is going to be epic. I just have to get out of the boat, basically. So we go. And to be honest, when I got in the water, I had my snorkel on, right? I put my face under the water and there are sharks already swimming around. And I immediately was going like this. I had to lift my head up. I couldn't breathe. I had to lift my head out of the water. I had to take my snorkel out of my mouth. I had to like catch my breath, right? And I was like, calm down. It's okay. You're not going to die. There's a cage, right? Put my snorkel back in. I had to go under, come up, go under, and then I was okay. But I had to step outside that comfort zone, right? I had to tell myself, like, it's okay. You're safe. There's people here. You're in a cage, right? Everything is fine. But my head voice was very much trying to protect me and tell me, you can't do this. This isn't safe. You can't do this. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie 47 Meters Down, but they go in a shark cage and the rope breaks and they fall all the way to the bottom of the ocean. That kept running through my head. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be like 47 meters down. This is going to break and I'm going to be stuck down there, right? That kept going through my head. But I kept telling myself, no, I can do this. I can do this. It's going to be the most epic experience of my life, right? Y'all, had I been too scared to go and just stayed at the hotel, I would have missed one of the most amazing activities I've ever done. Like, I didn't want to get out of the water. It was the coolest thing on the planet that I have ever been part of. And had I been too scared to step outside my comfort zone, I would have never experienced that. Right? I posted not long ago, and I did kind of a montage of swimming with sharks, doing the tigers, riding the elephants in Thailand, like all of these. And at first I had it and it said them, right? What's on the other side of your comfort zone? And I put my reply, some of the most epic adventures of your life. And then I did a montage of those pictures, right? But I did that because it's absolutely true. Y'all, if you are allowing your head voice to keep you stuck inside your comfort zone, you are missing out on some of the most epic adventures of your life. Right? Nothing good comes from staying inside that box. Nothing good comes from allowing fear to keep you stuck in your comfort zone. Is it easy? Absolutely not. It's never easy to step outside your comfort zone. Y'all, I had an internal battle going on in my head. Do I do it? Do I not? Well, this could happen. This could happen. This, right? Like, it was like I was arguing with another version of myself the whole time, right? Like they have like the angel and devil on your shoulder, right? And they're arguing. That's what it felt like. Because part of me was like, girl, this is the scariest thing you've ever done in your life. Like, what if this tiger goes crazy and attacks you? What if this, sinks to the bottom and you get eaten by a shark, right? All these things were coming up in my head, telling me why I couldn't do it, telling me why it was a bad idea, how dangerous it was, right? Then the other side of me was saying, no, but that's okay. People do this all the time and they don't get hurt. And I think I can do it. Right? It was telling me that when I get done with this, not only is it going to be one of the most epic adventures of my life, it's also going to help me as a person grow. Right? I'm going to grow as a person because I was able to step outside my comfort zone because I pushed myself beyond the limits that I thought I had, right? I pushed myself to push those limits even farther out. And now I'm ready to go back. I'm ready to go back and swim with more sharks because it was freaking awesome, right? But had I allowed my head voice to run my day and run my life, I would have never walked into that tiger cage. I would have never gotten on top of that elephant in Thailand and took some awesome pictures. I would have never gotten in that cage in Hawaii and swam with sharks. I would have never done any of that. And my stories about Thailand, about Hawaii, would not have been nearly as cool as they are today. Right? We have to stop allowing our head voice to keep us stuck inside our comfort zone box. I want you guys to think right now that you know what a head voice is, I want you guys to think, and you can even put it in the chat, okay? Because I want you to be able to verbalize it. I want you to be able to identify it. I want you in the chat and if you don't feel comfortable sharing it with everybody, you can send a direct message to me. That's fine. But I want you to identify and type in the chat one of your head voice sayings, right? One of the stories that your head voice is telling you. I'll give you guys a minute to think about that and to write it out. Shelly said, I'm too sick to do it. Oof. Right. I don't have enough time. Okay. I want you guys to be able to identify those. This will not work if I don't have my husband's support. I was always so scared to travel by myself because I couldn't get over my fear and think logically. Finally got over my head voice about traveling alone and booked my flight and hotel for the yacht party and the SoCal boot camp. That's freaking awesome, Lizzie. That's freaking awesome. Can I do this? Like, really do this? Right? I don't have enough knowledge myself to be a mentor to someone else. That's a big one. My mobility issues stop me. Right? Guys, these are all your head voice. These are all rooted in fear. These are all things that your subconscious is telling you that's holding you back. Who needs a travel agent with technology nowadays? Lack of support, right? Let's talk about some of these. I'm too sick to do it, right? I would challenge you to change that head voice, find the heart voice in that. Because I imagine when you tell yourself, I'm too sick to do this, it probably gives you feelings of being defeated or deflated, right? Like, ugh, I just feel like giving up, right? And then all that does is it makes you pull back from your business, not post, not talk to people, right? And then you're just keeping yourself stuck. But if you can find your heart voice and change that story to a positive one, right? I think that would propel you forward and it would stop allowing that story to hold you back. Right? I don't have enough time. I always tell people that's exactly why you need this business, is to free up some of your time. Because if you're successful here, you don't have to have a corporate job, right? You get to set your own schedule here. You don't have to answer to other people. So right there, being successful in this business opens up your time, right? Lizzie, not traveling by yourself, like being scared of that, you can talk to Christina because she was absolutely afraid of that. And she overcame that fear going to her very first convention in 2020, right? And she tells the story often, like she almost did not get on the plane. She had to call Killian, her husband. And she put it in here too. She had to call him and he had to talk her through it, right? But she ended up pushing through, getting outside that comfort zone, went to convention, right? And it propelled her forward. It was amazing for her business, right? I don't have enough knowledge myself to be a mentor to someone else. I hear that one so often. And here's what I want to say in general to that statement. Guys, I've been here for almost 4 years. February will be 4 years that I've been here. I still don't know all the answers. In fact, just yesterday, I had to text in a text thread with me, Christina, Amy, Tommy, and Coco. I had to text in that thread and ask a question to verify that I was giving the right information about something, right? There's times where they have to ask a question to verify. None of us have all the answers, right? What I love is that we have a community, and this community is always here to help you when you don't have the answer. You don't need to know everything. Amy was in this business 10 days when she brought Tommy Joe in. Do you think she knew everything? No, she didn't know squat, right? But what she told Tommy Joe was, if you have a question and I don't know the answer, I'll go find the answer and then we'll both learn it together. Right? That's huge, y'all. If you have that mentality of, hey, if I mentor somebody and I don't have the answer, I'll go find the answer and then I can learn it and they can learn it. Right? I will tell you that I learned more about this business quicker when I became a mentor and I had agents asking me questions. Had I never mentored, I may not even know as much as I do about booking travel as I do right now. Because the majority of what I learned about booking travel was I had agents asking me questions that I had to go find the answer on and give them, and then I learned it. Or I was going to do a training for my team, so I had to go teach myself first, and then that way I could share it with them. Right? So that's one thing, like always have the mentality that I don't need to know everything. I can always learn it and then teach it to my team, and we learn it together. And I'm going to look at mentoring other people as an opportunity to learn myself, right? Uh, you're disabled, you're limited in what you can do. Ooh, Heather, I love it. I hate it, but I love it. Like I love that you can identify that that is your head voice. I hate that that is what you tell yourself, but I get it. And here's the story, the different story, right? The heart voice is you are already being successful at this despite being disabled, right? You are already overcoming that stigma that you've put on yourself. You're already being successful. You're already doing a great job, right? And your disability isn't holding you back. It's the story you're telling yourself about that disability that's holding you back, right? And one thing, like, I think being able to find your heart voice and find the new story that you can tell yourself about that, I think it'll be huge for you. One thing that I learned in this whole issue with my leg for the last 2 weeks, I haven't been able to walk hardly at all, right? Like I've been stuck on the freaking couch, which is driving me crazy. But I've been stuck on the couch, right? And I feel a little disabled, to be honest, but I've been stuck on the couch. But what I found is that that has made me focus more on my business because I was stuck in one place. I booked multiple trips to Hawaii the other day while I was recovering from this surgery. I've signed some agents while I'm recovering from this surgery, right? I've sat and made TikTok videos and I am working on a new training, right? Like I have sat and put more into my business because it made me sit still and not be distracted by everything around me, right? I've had that like hyper focus to be like, no, I can't go anywhere anyway, right? Might as well sit here and work my business. So, those kind of things, right? Just changing the story that you're telling yourself about your situation makes a huge difference. Huge difference. Because one story I could have told myself was, ugh, I'm stuck on this freaking couch. I'll just sit here and binge watch TV all day, binge watch a show. Anyone give me good recommendations for a show to binge watch, right? I could have done that. I could have sat and played video games all day. I could have, whatever, sat and wasted away, right? I could have chosen to tell myself that I have an excuse to just sit and watch TV all day because my knee hurts. I can't get up and walk. I'm stuck right here all day. Like, I'm just stuck here. That could have been the story I told myself. And it would have made me feel deflated and unmotivated, right? It would have made me feel that way. And I would have been binge watched TV or movies or murder documentaries or whatever, right? Played video games. It would have made me do that. But instead, I told myself, you know what? This has made me take the time to slow down and be still And I'm going to take that time to work on my business. I'm going to post more on social media. I'm going to work on, clients that want to travel and booking that, right? Like I took that story and I made sure that it came from my heart voice. And I told myself that story that this is allowing me the time to focus on my business so that I can grow. Right. And I was on the first day, I signed somebody and won the platinum $100 raffle that we did, or $100 bonus, whatever, the 18K giveaway. I won the platinum one on the first day because I was focused, right? I was focused on signing people and all of that. Right. I had that immediate gratification of when I focus, I get rewarded like this, right? It moves my business forward. So I want you guys to work on being able to identify that head voice, being able to identify the story that you're telling yourself that is rooted in fear and scarcity and doubt. And I want you to be able to identify that. You can even write it down so that you see it. But then underneath it, I want you to write down, what is my heart voice telling me? What is the voice that's rooted in success and abundance and growth? What is that voice telling me? And write that down. And I want you to put it on your computer, put it on your wall, put it wherever you're going to see it, your desk, whatever. And I want you to read that every day. Because when you start telling yourself that story, you're going to start looking for the evidence that supports that. Right? You're going to start finding that evidence that says, I am a 2-star platinum. I am a platinum. I am an IATAN card holder. I am a 6-figure earner. I am the top commission earner. Right? You're going to start finding the evidence that supports that story that you're telling yourself. And I want you guys to stop letting your head voice keep you stuck inside your comfort zone box. I want you guys to take that head voice and I want you to throw it in the trash, as Amy says. Right? You can shoot it like a basketball. Boop. Right? But I want you to take that head voice and I want you to throw it in the trash. And I want you to hang on to that heart voice. Tell yourself that heart voice every single day, all day, multiple times, however many times you have to. Right? Create affirmations that go along with that heart voice. One thing that I love about the guy who did the coaching certification, he said he doesn't just tell himself an affirmation, like a sentence, right? Of I am a 2-star platinum, right? I'll just use myself, right? He's like, I don't just tell myself a blanket statement like that because I don't necessarily believe it right off the bat. Right? He said, what I do is I tell myself a different type of affirmation where I put in evidence. And so when I read his book, and I came up with my own affirmation, it was this: because I'm dedicated to growth, I will be a 2-star platinum. See the difference? I'm not just saying I am a 2-star platinum because I'm not right now, and I don't necessarily believe that. But when I put the evidence in there about myself, I am dedicated to growth, right? Because I'm dedicated to growth, I will be a 2-star platinum. That I can believe because I know that I am dedicated to growth. And I know that if I'm dedicated to growth, that I can have that 2-star platinum status eventually, right? So if you're telling yourselves affirmations that you don't quite believe, start putting evidence behind them. Change them up just a little bit, right? Put some evidence in there that's specific to you. Because I'm whatever, I will be whatever, right? And change that up just a little bit because it made a world of difference for me, right? I actually believe that affirmation as opposed to the one that just says, I am a 2-star platinum. That one I was like, I said it, but I didn't believe it. right? And when we say a statement that we actually believe, our brain is going to find the evidence to support that story and move in a way that gets us closer to that story and to that outcome. Okay. All right, guys, that's all for today. I hope this helped. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on this Monday morning. I know you could have been doing anything else other than this, but I'm so glad that you came and hung out with me today. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. You guys are absolutely welcome. I love you guys too. And I will see you guys later. Bye.